Hi, my name is Robert Fumbuzai Machera. I'm from Botho University as a senior lecturer, and I'm going to present on this international academic forum. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to come to UK to do a personal presentation. Botho University is a university in Africa, and it employs about 400 lecturers, and it has got plus or minus 5,000 students in Botswana. It is one of the best private university in Botswana. And the topic that I'm going to talk about today is on the relevance of classroom audits and student feedback on teacher effectiveness. The keywords in this study are indirect observation, student feedback, classroom observation, and student throughput. Botho University is in Botswana, like I said already. It uses classroom audits and student feedbacks to measure the performance of each faculty member. We need to start with what is a classroom audit. A classroom audit is a process whereby a lecturer is being measured by a superior to see whether they are performing to the right standards. This is also from Robbins, Odell, and Rodin, 2003. Student feedback. This is also a process whereby students evaluate the performance of the academic staff. Again, it is from Robbins and Odell and Rodin. The researcher or myself was motivated to conduct this study in order to see whether it is appropriate for Botho University to finally conclude on using the instruments that I talked about to measure the lecturer's performance. The problem statement is how effective are these tools, student feedback and classroom audits are there. And the most problem that is there is on phenomenon that was postulated by a psychologist, Edward Tondeka, when he talked about the halo and the horn effect. The halo effect is where someone likes an object and they tend to measure that object very highly. When it is a horn effect is where an individual measuring an object on a low mark because they tend to hate that kind of object. So however, this is also embedded in the classroom audit and also student feedback. And it was also discovered by Foster and Yeselbeck, 1976, when they revealed that there was also halo and effect when the actual teachers were measuring their school students or children, classroom children. Problem statement. The problem statement in this study is to see how truthful the students are, to see the relationship between classroom audits, student feedback, and student throughput at Botho University. The purpose is to see whether there is actually a relationship or we can come up with certain mechanism that we can use to measure teachers' effectiveness. To ascertain the relationship between classroom audits, student feedback, and student pass rates. To identify effective teaching methodology and to ensure that the instruments that we use at Botho University, they can actually give the correct measure, and maybe to come up with other instruments that can actually contribute to the measuring of teachers' performance. This research, if it is published and when it's going to be published, it will ascertain different models that can be used to motivate lecturers when they are teaching their students, to establish additional tools to be used to measure lecturers besides the use of classroom audits and student feedback. There is what we call direct observation in the literature review. Direct observation is whereby a lecturer is measured by a supervisor or an independent individual when performing in the classroom. And indirect is where we use now the camera and to measure the performance of the lecturer in the classroom. But however, it is not recommended to use the camera at times, because a camera brings in the issues of ethical, as was postulated by Clary, Humphrey and Rao and McKay in their study, to say that the camera, if you are evaluating someone without their knowledge, then it brings in some bit of confusion and problems, and they can actually maybe sue that person who's actually conducting that research. Student feedback, they are also perceived as constructive, as they enhance the educator's effectiveness. Administrators should not use student feedback and classroom audits as sole measure of the lecturer's performance. They should use other mechanisms, as we have seen that these, they have connotation of subjectivity. Student feedback is a management monitoring mechanism of what is happening in the classroom. So it is also very important to use other mechanisms to measure the lecturer's performance. Student feedback enhances the quality of teaching and improves the teacher-student relationships. When there is good student feedback or good platform, it creates a good rapport between the student and the lecturer. The research methodology that was used in this research was an interpretism, which tried to deduce or to get the participants' perception to see how true it is in terms of the use of student feedback and classroom observation. The target group was 80 lecturers, and the number was 12. And these were teaching a certain module which had a problem. Even up to now, there are some problems in teaching that module in terms of student pass rate. The researcher used the content analysis, personal interviews, and audio recording during the collection of data or gathering of data.